He's been a fixture in open-wheel racing for 40 years. As president of Penske Racing in the 1980s, his teams won 5 championships, 5 Indy 500s, 28 Champ Car races. He started his own kart team in 1990, nearly won the 92 Indy 500 with Scott Goodyear. 5 years later, his driver Gilles de Ferran, second to Alex Zanardi in the championship. Walker Racing's limited Indy Racing League involvement gave Sarah Fisher her best results, but through it all, Walker was a Champ Car loyalist. In this, his 17th kart and Champ Car season, his Team Australia has a pole, a win, and 2 podiums from 3 races, and driver Will Power is currently second in the championship points. And with that, it is a pleasure to welcome Derrik Walker to Wind Tunnel. Nice to have you here tonight, Derrik. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dave. Glad to be on the show.
Let's start with the present, and then I want to work our way backwards. Team Australia has already exceeded Robin Miller's expectations by winning a race this year. You have Aussie co-owners, an Aussie sponsor, and 1 Aussie driver, which sounds like it would be fun. My question, is this team capable of sustaining this early season, challenging Newman Haas and Sebastian Bourdais for the championship?
Well, it certainly will be hard. Newman Haas are pretty strong competitors. They've been winning for a long time, so we've got a lot to do to put them away. But I think we're off to a good start, and I think the team's pretty strong right now. The team's working really well. Got 2 great drivers. I think we've got a good chance.
Will Power has certainly been the highest profile performer, but your investment in Formula Atlantic, the Champ Car Ladder Series, certainly paid off last year. Simon Pagenaud won that championship, which included a couple of $1 million prize to fund his Champ Car rookie season. Was that money the deciding factor in him replacing Tagliani? How do you rate his performance so far this year?
It wasn't the deciding factor. Simon is a really good driver, and as we can already see, he's beginning to get a hold of the Champ Car Series. Certainly the $2 million always helps, but it really wasn't. We went into the Atlantic program just to do that, just to find a Champ Car driver, and we found it in Simon, and he moved right into the team, so it worked. It was really good exercise.
And had a top 5 last time out, so that seems to be going very well. I have some big picture questions about Champ Car, but first let me put your racing longevity in perspective. I want to check my facts here. Is it true that you were a bus mechanic who took a job turning wrenches on Brabham Formula One cars even before some guy named Bernie Ecclestone bought that team? Can that possibly be true?
Well, it's close. I served an apprenticeship as a mechanic in a bus company, and then I got into racing, and I did end up at Brabham with Ron Taranach. And Bernie bought the team at that time, so I worked at Brabham probably for about 6 years prior to going to Penske. So I did work in the early days when Formula One was pre-Bernie, and I have to say it was a very unique time to be in Formula One, to see Bernie and how he started to transform Formula One to what it is today.
Well, just to finish that thread, what do you think of that transformation that he has masterminded? How is history going to remember this man?
Well, I think he made Formula One, if you ask me. As I say, I was around when it wasn't quite as big a deal, and there was a lot of team owners, probably not unlike Champ Car, in so much as the team owners had a lot to say about things and did a lot of things, but there wasn't really an organized direction, and it took a benevolent, maybe some would say not so benevolent dictator in Bernie to turn around, and he put money in everybody's pockets, and he turned the tracks into what they need to be, and he built the series from ground up. So I think if anybody remembers it from where it was before he came, you can't help but say it wouldn't be what it is today without Bernie Ecclestone.
Newcomers to open-wheel racing probably don't know about your tenure as president of Penske Racing. Can you sum up in a few words what makes that team a perennial powerhouse? I mean, they were back then, they are today. Or maybe in a few words, the key to Roger Penske's racing success. What makes that guy so good?
Well, he's probably so unusual and unique. He is Penske Racing. He makes it. He doesn't do all the work, but he sets the pace. He sets the direction of the team. He has a vision. He has a sixth sense about racing. I worked with him for 13 years, and I have to say I didn't stay there long enough to learn enough from him to do a better job as a team owner. But certainly when you look at the way he does it and the continued success, he's just a very smart operator, and he has a real sense for racing and business, of course, too. So he's a very unique person. I'm certainly very fortunate to have worked for Bernie and Roger, because I think they're two of the smartest guys in racing, really.
On that note, we're going to take a commercial break. We'll come back on the other side and continue our conversation, speaking with Derrik Walker, whose team's off to a hot start this year in the Champ Car World Series. We have more questions about open-wheel racing for Derrik.